So a lot of you guys know this chart. This is the GameStop chart right here, and as you can see, the value of GameStop went all the way up in 2021, then all the way down, and then starts bending back up. And we call that the recovery and fundamental movement on GameStop. But something else has the same movement, this very same movement. You want to watch? Check this out. This is your stock market. These are the P ratios of the stock market as it goes down and then goes back up and it battles. And I ask you, why does the stock market, the S&P 500, these are the P ratios, why do they go up, down, and then back up again? Very similar to GameStop, right? Then I had to go back to the 90s. So I went all the way back to the 90s. I look at what P ratios were for the whole market. And you could see something like this, the dot-com bubble era, when they were in the 30s, 20s, all the way up to 40. This is a bad time right here. It means too top heavy, the top companies fell off, and the stock market had huge corrections because when you have P ratios this detached from reality, it shows you something. Then you go to this. You see that it was all the way down to the teens again. Then it went to 70 right here in 2009. A lot of people know that this is when like the shorts were developing in the markets, and the shorts were just because all the money was free. So you knew these companies were just going to go ahead and get distressed and go bankrupt because they were going to expand. It was like a whole playbook on this, and I'll leave it for another conversation. But you keep looking at this market being leveraged, and you see all the way to 2019, no really big issues here. You can handle what's coming, but it's here. It's 2020 to 2021 right there. 36, 37, whatever it may be, on its way. And that's because GameStop was pumping at that moment, that whole month of January. So when you're reporting what are your PE ratios, what are your values, then you see when the market fell off, well, guess what also fell off with it? GameStop's value fell off. But as GameStop's value starts going up, starts ticking up in the other direction, now you see what's happening to this market. They have to offset it with value. So I'll put this all together for you. All right, so let me put it all together for you. Now that you guys made it this far in the video, you have GameStop that pumps up, came down, and now pumping back up again. And Wall Street, the S&P 500, their PE ratios go up, down, and back up again too, just similar to GameStop. And the reason for that is because people are long the S&P 500, and they're hedging it with their short position on GameStop, right? I mean, wouldn't that make sense? Just based off of values and metrics and measurables that you're looking at, it's going to shock the world when GameStop actually goes uber positive and you have to start buying it in or close your short positions and buy it back. Now, this happened before. And it happened with Tesla. But GameStop's a little different. GameStop's a little different because there are no stock analysts covering GameStop. They refuse to cover it. What happens when the FOMO comes back into a stock? What happens when Wall Street has to buy in and they have to grovel at your feet? Well, we're about to find out. You're about 5 days away from finding out exactly why Trump and private equity and you name it start giving you deadlines when tariffs go into effect, when the administration is going to make moves. Headlines are tied into what the stock market does. Let's go conspiracy theory 101 right now. DeepSeek came out with a report for Nvidia stock 3 weeks before it became national news, and they put out the headline, and next thing you know, $1 trillion comes off of Nvidia. $5.5 trillion comes off this market. And you're like, no big deal, because people set it up. They actually hedged their positions with puts. They made money on the downside. They were risk off at the time. And right now, they're holding tight till you take off another 10%. You don't do it all at once. You don't crash the market. That's why the Fed sat on their hands today. Are you guys paying attention to this world? They're walking you down to the path of least resistance, all the way down at the bottom. But as they walk you down, they better hope and pray they can walk GameStop down. We're going to see who's more resilient. We're going to see who can just hold and diamond hand right through this badass moment in time. The recession might be. But I'll tell you what, it's only because private equity lost. They sensationalize their losses. They want you to feel sorry for them. They're going to cry on TV because they own the TV. They own the networks. They own the media. Private equity has influence everywhere. But the truth A little company worth about $10 billion, allegedly, shouldn't take down the market. Let's find out together.